All right, gang. Thank you everyone for being here. We're gonna get right to work today. Today is gonna be all nuts and bolts. No fluff, no hype, none of that nonsense. I'm not selling anything on this workshop. This is strictly all straight information. And basically what I want to do, just because I thought it would be helpful to everybody, is always asking. And I go through these conversations like one-on-one with people all the time. Like they'll schedule an appointment with me or a consult with me, or they're messaging me or they're emailing me or whatever. And I have this conversation all the time. So I figure, you know what? Probably a good idea. Let me just do a live workshop. Anybody who wants to join can join. And what I'm going to do is kind of walk through from A to Z how someone, this is how I do it. So this is how I believe it needs to be done. But not a lot of other doctors do it this way. But basically, like start to finish, how do we walk somebody through diagnosis, figuring them out, you know, what are their root causes? How do we nail these things down? How do we implement treatment protocols? Like A to Z, like how do we do that? Okay. Or how does that need to be done? And this is going to sound obviously radically different, I'm sure, and I hope a lot more thorough, and I hope it's a lot different than what the medical care that you get usually in mainstream medicine, which is kind of non-existent. So, for Hashimoto's. So and so we're going to dig in today on like, here's everything that needs to be done. Let's get to work. If you guys have questions, write them down. I'm a one-man band today. I don't have anyone like monitoring the chat or anything like that here in the group. I am going to have Q&A at the end. So anybody has questions, write them down. We'll go live with Q&A. You can unmute yourself. You can ask questions. I just won't have time to like go through the whole workshop and then answer chat messages or keep up with the chat along the way. So I'm not going to be monitoring the chat or anything like that. So just sit back, relax, take some notes. If you have questions, we are definitely going to have time. I'll make time for Q&A at the end. Okay. All right, let's get to it. So here we go. The secret to remission and relief from Hashimoto's 90 days or less. Okay. Um, let's get to it. Okay. Now, stick around. Okay, we're going to go through a case review today. I'm going to take you guys through like patient case, right? Like, here's what we see. Um, I will totally make myself available for anybody who wants this for themselves. Okay, so stick around at the end. We can talk about that if you want. That's not obviously a requirement for today, but if somebody does, if you do want that and you'd like for me to go through everything that we're going to go through today with you to get you figured out, you'll have that opportunity. Okay. All right, listen. Phones away, right? My phone is in a different room. We're gonna share some stuff. There's distractions everywhere, right? We're gonna go over some things today that could change your health and could change your life. So close out the tabs, no more email. You guys know the drill. Let's get to work, okay? For those of you who do not know me, okay, we're gonna take 2 seconds. This can be really quick. My name is Dr. Ray Benedetto. If you're in my Facebook group, you should know me by now. If you're on my email list, or you should hopefully know me by now. Like, I've been seeing patients for a long time now, talking close to over 15 years, people with Hashimoto's who, and I'm also a board certified chiropractic neurologist, functional medicine practitioner, been in practice for over 20 years. I've been working virtually ever more so now for since 2018. So we're talking 6-7 years. So that's who you're listening to. Someone who is in the trenches with Hashimoto's patients. It's like half my practice at this point, probably more, doing this every day and have been for quite some time. So there's not much I haven't seen or much I haven't heard. Okay. Some testimonials. I'm not going to bore you with testimonials, but just a few that jump out at me, to be honest with you, because in my own head, I think, like, for example, like Lily says here, like the things that we're going to talk about today, like seem almost too sane, like they seem almost too common sense, but they're not done, and then sometimes my patients put it in better words than I can, you know. And again, see things you're going to see here, got to test people thoroughly. We got to you see some of these go back years. Get to the root cause. Got to figure these things out. You can see my wife sprinkled in here as well. My wife and I practice together. So, we work tandem with patients with testing and stuff like that. Bunch of testimonials over the years. Okay. Now, let's get to it. What are we here for today? The what, right? What is the problem? Okay, the problem. The problem here is that you have Hashimoto's, right? It's not getting any better. Okay, for the most part, usually. Some of you here might not be diagnosed properly yet. We're going to get to that. Okay, how do we, because that's something that has to be done as well. So we're going to get to like, okay, if I haven't been diagnosed, like that's kind of the most important thing, right? But the what is, yeah, I got Hashimoto's. It's not getting any better. And I've tried all this other stuff. I've tried supplements. I've tried diet. I've tried the meds. I've tried exercise. I've tried different programs that are out there in internet land. And I've been to my doctor a million times and I'm not getting anywhere. I've tried medications like low dose naltrexone, right? So, so what gives? Like, why isn't it getting better? Right? Why am I trying all this stuff and it's not getting better? Right? So it all comes down to this. Okay. There are literally, this is kind of where I start. This is what I do with patients. Like, this is the process I walk them through. Okay. I say, listen, there's circumstances beyond your control. Before you got to me, you've been trying your best and you can't control what your doctors are doing. Right. Then there are thoughts that we tell ourselves, there's feelings that we feel, there's action plans that we follow based on all of these things. Okay. And what that leads to is the result, right? So here's what's going on with me. Here's how I feel about it. Here's what I think about it. Here's the actions I've been taking about it. And here's the results I've been getting. Okay. Unfortunately, those are usually not the desired results. Okay. So I get a hold of my patients and I say, okay, listen, I get it. Like, here's probably what you've been thinking so far, right? Right? Makes total sense. If you guys can see that there, it makes a lot of sense, right? So like, here, my blood tests are normal. Why am I not getting better? Right? And so then that's going to give you some feelings, confusion, frustration, overwhelm, right? Like, because it's like, well, I'm not getting any help. I don't know what else to do, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to consume more and more. I'm going to Google. I'm going to join Facebook groups. I'm going to get all this information myself, trying to figure this stuff out on my own. Okay. What results do that give us? None. Like, I'm throwing stuff. I'm out here floundering around by myself, and like I don't know where to go from here, right? So my goal today is to give people some clarity, some confidence to then know moving forward, okay, by the time you're done today, I know exactly why I'm not getting better. And more importantly, I know what I need to do about it. Okay. And that's going to give me some feelings of, all right, cool. Now I got some optimism. Now I got some relief. Now I got some clarity about what I need to do or what I need to figure out or who I need to see to get to the bottom of my Hashimoto's and get it figured out. That's going to lead to some actions. If you want to partner with me, awesome. Find someone else who can help you with that. I'll point you in a direction if you need it to figure out the cause of the Hashimoto's for each individual person and fix them. Okay. And that's going to finally give us some results. Okay. That's going to give us relief from symptoms and a clear path forward towards remission. That's the goal here, gang. There is no cure for autoimmune disease. We want to get to remission. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the exact steps of the system I use with my patients so you'll know what to do. Okay. I'm doing this a long time. And I've done this 10 ways to Sunday. What we're going to go through right now is the quickest, easiest, fastest way, most effective way, really. So we're going to walk you through it right now. Let's see how we do that. Okay. Now, this little graphic I put together, I am the least creative person that you will ever meet. So I'm proud of my triangle here. So bear with me. I got to show it off a little bit. But really, I think what it does is it helps to boil things down. Okay. People get to me, every one of you, people who have Hashimoto's, they're looking for a plan. I need a personalized Hashimoto's recovery plan for me. Okay. And there's three legs that are holding up this stool. Okay. The problems that I see when people come to me. Problem number one, we've already touched on. Okay. My doctor's not helping me, right? They're not treating me. My Hashimoto's, they're doing nothing about it. At most, they're looking at my blood work my TSH only. If it's normal, they're done with me. If it's not normal, they're medicating me until it's normal, and that's not helping. This isn't fixing the problem. Okay. So what you got to do is you got to find a doctor that's focused on treating the person, not the blood work. Okay. By the time we're done today, you're going to see that. We got to treat the diagnosis or the person with the diagnosis, not the diagnosis in the person. Hope that makes sense. So there's 3 steps that we have to take to do this. Number one is we have to, and this is guys, this is the 30,000 foot view. Then we're going to drill down into this. Okay. So stick with me. But this is kind of like the big picture, what has to be done. And then I'm going to show you exactly how we do it. So someone comes to me immediately. I'm like, okay, first thing we got to do is we got to do a comprehensive history and just lay it on me. Tell me the whole story from birth to now if you need to, okay? What has been your previous healthcare prescription, which is usually severely lacking, and let's fill the holes in the bucket, okay? So show me your previous lab work. Let me take a look at it. Let's dissect this. Let's break it down. What have you been getting as far as treatment for now? Okay, that's good. Leave that. Okay, we got a lot of holes over here we got to fill, okay? And we start with an assessment on the front end. So I run everyone through a scorecard. You're going to see it later, where we look at how are their thyroid condition and their Hashimoto's affecting their quality of life. We're not just looking at TSH on a piece of paper here, gang. Okay, we have to look at the person. We have to look at their lifestyle. We have to look at their habits. We have to look at what is going on with their health in general. And again, you're going to see this how we do this in detail as we go. Okay. Now, problem number 2. This is the big one. These next 2 is when it gets big, right? This front part is easy. That's like doctor stuff. That's me. Like people come to me and they're like, okay, this is I tell them literally have a consultation. I'm like, lay it on me. Just give me a story. I'm going to shut up and take some notes and take the next 10, 15 minutes and just give me the story. And then I got to sift and sort and figure out all this stuff on this side of the triangle. Step number 2 and number 3 is really where everybody knows they need to get to, right? I have fancy names for this stuff. Um, I call this first leg of the triangle my Benedetto bedside manner because I like corny dad jokes and it rhymes with my name. But at the same time, too, as you all well know, bedside manner in medicine is a lost art. It's basically non-existent. So we need to bring it back. We need to bring bedside manner back. That's for sure. That's going to help us develop a one-on-one plan, right? Number 2. People are looking to figure out the root cause of their Hashimoto's. By now, you guys have all heard these terms. You've heard these catch terms: root cause, root cause, root cause medicine, root cause medicine. Like, I need to figure out what's the root cause of my autoimmune condition. Yes, but people don't know how to do that. You get zero help from your doctors doing that. Even functional medicine doctors aren't really good at that, to be honest with you. And like, you don't have to do it on your own, right? By the time we're done here, guess what? You're going to know how to figure out your root causes. Okay. And again, there's a 3-step process which I take patients through. Most of you have heard me talk before. You know, there are 2 tests that most people have never had done that I love. Okay. And number 1 is a DNA genetic health profile. Okay. So I have patients do DNA testing, not to look at like genes for their eye color, but we can look at things like metabolic issues or genetic mutations causing certain problems. The big one that most of you have heard of is something like an MTHFR mutation, right? So that's not the only one, but there's common ones that we find with people that have, can have issues with methylation or whatever. So I want to look at their DNA, just their medically relevant genetics, okay? And we can't change them, but we got to take a look at them so we can see what the heck's going on and if there are things that we can mitigate, okay, that are contributing to their Hashimoto's. Second one, you guys, again, have heard me talk ad nauseum about something called the Dutch Complete test, Dutch Complete hormones. Now, the Dutch test, and you're going to see it, it's coming up in this. I'm going to show you all this stuff. So the Dutch test, I love it because it's 3 tests in one. It looks at hormones, it looks at adrenals, and it looks at organic acids. Again, you're going to see exactly what it looks at. So nutritional deficiencies, mitochondrial issues, different, neurotransmitter imbalance, oxidative stress markers like cellular inflammation, cellular damage. And so, so this helps us to really look at some of those underlying root causes that could be there, imbalances that aren't easily seen on blood tests, right? So many times I'll need to run additional labs on someone because they haven't had them done. They've only had like a CBC, a metabolic panel, TSH. Maybe they've never even checked for Hashimoto's. I have to check them for Hashimoto's. I had someone just today, someone that I've been working with who just got to me that I had to order antibodies for because none of their doctors would do it. So I did it. I sent her the script for the blood work and she got them done and she's got Hashimoto's. So there are, and again, you're going to see how we break all this down, right? So that's going to give us some clarity on someone's root causes. We have to figure all this stuff out on the front end, okay? That's going to give us that path forward, like, okay, what are the things that we need to address long term, okay? Last thing, right? Third stool here. Again, these are the three things I hear from you guys all the time. So I get it, and I've heard for 15 years doing this work. Most people understand, like, okay, I got to do some dietary work. I got to do some nutritional work, but I don't know what foods to eat. I don't know what foods not to eat. I don't know what supplements to take. Like, I, I don't even know where to start. Okay, stop eating gluten, but okay, now what, right? Again, by the time we're done today, you're going to know, and by the time someone's done working with me, exactly what foods they need to eat and what supplements they need to take. Okay. We're going to do that by figuring out what's their code, what's their blueprint for foods. Okay, and I'll show you exactly how we do that. Individualized prescribed supplements based on their test results, primarily. There are some that I use in initial phases with patients for inflammation and immune support and gut repair and those kinds of things, right? So then what we do is we need to personalize someone's dietary nutritional protocol, short-term and long-term. Okay, and again, I'll show you how we do that. What's that going to do? It's going to put us on that path for that person, that healing path, right? And it's going to right away, like in weeks to months, right? Month or two, they're going to feel relief right away. So we get going with a plan. We implement a plan for them, specifically for them. They're going to see, inflammation's down, weight's coming off, brain fog's clearing up, energy's bouncing back. We want to see those things quickly in someone's game plan while we're building a long-term plan for them. Okay. And we want to see that happen in 90 days. Like all this can take place in 90 days. I tell patients I like to work in 90-day sprints. So we're going to do all this stuff for the next 90 days and then we're going to reassess. But by the time we get there, I want someone significantly improved, either at remission or getting to remission or on our way there, and we just have to continue it over time. Okay. So those are the three legs. We're going to break all of this down with a case study. Okay. This is a great case study. It's because it's super common, like basically for most of my patients. It all starts with a detailed case history. Okay. This alone can take anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. Okay. Sit down with my patients and I really listen to what they're telling me. I'm dead serious. If anyone who's working with me who's even on here today, they will tell you, I literally will tell them the very first consultation we have, I'm like, hey, great. Nice to meet you. Great to talk with you. Let's get to work. I'm going to shut up and take notes and just lay it on me. Like, what's going on? Tell me the story. Okay. And then we'll back and forth it from there. So here's a classic one, right? Again, most of you guys can relate to this story. This was Margaret. She was 62 years old at the time. Main symptoms, right? Weight gain, depression, fatigue, digestive problems, cravings. You guys have heard all this stuff before, right? She was on thyroid medication. She came to me. She was diagnosed already as hypothyroid. Okay. Was on levothyroxine, Synthroid, was already on medication, right? Levels were normal. TSH was in range. Doctors were done with her. Okay. Still having all these symptoms, right? Found me. And then this is the process that we went through. Okay. So what did we do? What's leg number one? She came to me. This was the story. I said, all right, lay it on me. What's going on? Tell me the history. Tell me everything you've had done to now. What has worked? What hasn't worked? Okay. We need to fill in some blanks here, right? Let's evaluate your entire case. Let's do some additional blood work. Let's test you for Hashimoto's. Like we had to do all these things. We had to fix these issues, these failures that she had from medicine. Okay. So what did we do? We ran through the Benedetto bedside manner. I wasn't calling it that then, but I like the sound of it. It's got a nice ring to it. So we got to evaluate her previous blood work. That's what we did. Have there been any diagnoses that have been swept under the rug? Do we have any root causes that have been identified but not addressed? Right? That happens a lot too. I get people like they have a vitamin D deficiency and like nobody's treating it. It's like insane. Fill in the blanks for blood work and then ran her through like, okay, how is your thyroid dysfunction affecting your quality of life? That's exactly what I did with her, and it's what I do today. Okay. Now, what did we find? We ran her labs. You can see this was back in 2017, but it's no different today. I mean, it's literally no different today. I use this because it's a classic case. So I was like, all right, well, we got to check you for Hashimoto's. You've never been checked. Guess what? She's got it, right? So thyroid peroxidase antibodies, anything over 9 is considered positive. She was a 16. So, okay, now we've identified you have Hashimoto's. Now we can start. Like that tells us what we need to know. Many of you on here have not had this done. This needs to get done first. Many of you have had this done. You've been diagnosed. And so you're past this point, but we're going to get into them. Then what do you do, right? Now, what I also commonly find, right? Some other I see this stuff all the time, which drives me nuts, right? So this kind of fits in with like the other things that doctors are testing for, like other diagnoses people have received that are being swept under the rug. Okay. So here's blood work. This is from a different patient. This was not Margaret, but it could very have well been. These levels were elevated for years on this patient. She sent me blood work from like 2019 all the way through like 23, 2024. And these labs were tested like 4 or 5 times over that time period. And they were always elevated. Parietal cell IgG antibodies. Okay. So this patient had a diagnosis of Hashimoto's, right? But look at all this other stuff that's going on. Parietal cell IgG antibodies. Parietal cells are the cells in your stomach that make intrinsic factor, which helps to absorb B vitamins, especially B12, and they make hydrochloric acid, which is obviously super important for digestion. This particular patient has antibodies. The immune system is attacking her parietal cells in her stomach. These doctors tested for it multiple times, did nothing about it. Autoimmune, right? Look at this next one down. Anti-smooth muscle antibodies, and then smooth muscle IgG antibodies. So this is evidence of someone's immune system attacking smooth muscle. Smooth muscle is the muscles that line your organs. They line, except your heart. Your heart has special muscle, cardiac muscle. Smooth muscle is not skeletal muscle, and it's not cardiac muscle. It's all the other muscle in your body. It's the muscle that lines your digestive tract and your organs. She's getting autoimmune attacks to smooth muscle. ANA is positive, right? That's a screening test for autoimmune disease. All this stuff was positive and high for years. Nothing was done about it. I said, this is insane, right? Other stuff we always see come up on blood work. This is why, that's why I'm always filling in blanks. This is stuff that people don't get done, right? They're not getting things like C-reactive protein checked. They're not getting things like homocysteine checked. They're not getting things like iron and ferritin checked, right? So this, again, more stuff that we did with Margaret. These are things that I tested on her that nobody else had ever tested. And look, right? Iron's low, ferritin's low, iron deficiency anemia, leaky gut. That's where we see these things. C-reactive protein. Look at this. Anything from 0 to 3, anything 3 or higher is high. Hers was 42, gang. 42. That is insane. This is an inflammatory marker. The inflammation in her was through the roof, right? We got autoimmune disease, undiagnosed, untreated. We got iron deficiency anemia. We got all this autoimmune stuff going on. It's causing a significant and severe inflammatory response, which is going to cause a lot of collateral damage. You can see C-reactive protein. They always measure here for cardiac. So they use it for cardiac markers. It's a relative risk for future cardiac events. You can see it there. So anything 3 or higher significantly increases your risk of cardiovascular events. This was 11, 12, 15 times that. Okay. Now this is due to all the underlying autoimmune stuff going on. This is a symptom, not the problem. We fix the autoimmune stuff. This gets better. Okay. Gang, these are all things that need to be done. Okay. Your doctor's not doing this. I can help you do it, but these are all things that need to be done. Okay, you have to look under all the rocks. We're just on the first leg of the triangle here, gang. Okay, this is that 85-point thyroid assessment that I use. Okay, it's 85 questions, literally, and I score it, and it looks at how is your thyroid condition affecting your life, your quality of life. Okay, and and we run through this, and I run patients through it, and I score it, and then we do it again down the road, and things we have to monitor. Okay, that's just the first leg of the triangle, gang. So here we go, second leg, right? So what do we got to do first? All that stuff. History, thorough blood testing, make sure we have accurate diagnosis, look for other things that we can see on blood work that are easy to find. Okay. Second leg of the triangle is, okay, now we've identified the problem, we've got a proper diagnosis, we've looked for everything that we can look for on blood work, vitamin D, anemias, whatever we got to find. And then we got a baseline, now we can monitor. Now we got to figure out the rest of your root causes. Okay. And I like those two tests. Okay, right out of the chute for most people. Are there other tests I might do on people? Yes. I like these two on pretty much most people, to be honest with you, because they fill in the blanks that you can't usually see on blood work. Okay. Like vitamin D, you can check it on blood work. We don't need a special test for that. Okay. But hormones, adrenals, some of this other stuff, DNA, it's not easily seen on blood work. So we have these specialized tests. Okay. So that's why I like these tests, because they will help us to, I like for the DNA profile, I like Ancestry.com or 23andMe. You just do their test. I had someone earlier today send me their copies. You do the test. When the results are ready, I can take the genetic data and break it down and make it medically relevant. Okay. But it's like a backdoor way. It's a cheap way to get all the DNA at a quick and easy, at home test. Again, the Dutch Complete. We're looking at hormone imbalances. We're looking at adrenal dysfunction. We're looking at something called organic acid testing, which is OAT testing, which looks at nutritional deficiencies, neurotransmitter stuff, cellular inflammation markers, all that kind of stuff. And then blood labs. I didn't even mention this previously, but like I'll take everyone's labs and we want to look at them in an optimal range or run labs that have never been run. Okay, like which we kind of just touched on. Okay. Again, I like Ancestry.com. 23andMe is fine as well. But what we do is take that information, right? We do the test. Yes, they'll send you an email when it's all ready. Hey, here's, you're half Norwegian or whatever your ancestry part of it. But when they do that, they run full DNA panels on everybody. They don't tell you that, but your genetic data is in there. Okay. And so then I can say, okay, listen to my patients, like, here's what you do. Go in here, click there, download the data, send it over to me. Okay. And I'll take a look at it and we'll review it and how it's relevant to you. Okay. And when we get it back, we can look at all kinds of stuff. So I have software. You can see this is one of them that I use. And what we can do is we can take all the data and I can upload it into a separate, software, and then it spits out a report. Okay. This is one, for example, what it'll do is like it looks at, for example, this is a big one. So I use it as an example. Most people understand this one, something called MTHFR. So we can look at the different MTHFR genes, of which there are 2 of them, and it'll give us a score. We can look at all the different mutations they may have. This particular person did not, right? So you see it show over up here on variants, and then someone could have mutations in these genes. And then we need to correlate that. Genetics is one of the last things that I'll get to with a patient because we're going to run through, an AIP protocol, which again, we'll get to all this stuff. And then we got to clean some stuff up on their blood work. And then we're going to do a Dutch test and we're going to fix anything we find on a Dutch test. And then we look at their genetics. But we can do some really cool things. Again, we can't change someone's genes if they have mutations here, but we can deal with them and get around them. Okay. The Dutch test. You guys have heard me talk about the Dutch test ad nauseum, right? I love it. Look, this test's crazy, right? So this first page, this is like a sample test. This first one is a summary. The second one, you can hear it looks at all these different markers. This is the hormone section. So it looks at the sex hormones. So we can look at this and we can see the entire pathway, see all these arrows and stuff. How is your body making progesterone? How is your body making androgens? The androgens turned into estrogens. How are we metabolizing estrogen then? How are we getting rid of it? How are we utilizing it? Down the bottom, you see that we can look at someone's methylation activity so we can see what's going on there. This person's was pretty high. So you can see what's going on with their methylation activity. So we can correlate that with the DNA. So that's when all this stuff starts getting pretty cool and coming together. So we can look at all this stuff on a Dutch test. You can't see this on just blood because they're only going to check the levels of the hormones in the blood. And then we look at adrenals, same thing. So over here on the left-hand side, you see these adrenal patterns. We're looking at DHEA, we're looking at cortisol, we're looking at how is your body metabolizing cortisol, we're looking at melatonin, we're looking at what are your cortisol patterns along daily circadian rhythms. So we can see what does your HPA performance look like. That's hypothalamic pituitary adrenal, so that's brain pituitary adrenal performance. So we can look at all this stuff. And again, on the third part over here, you can see the organic acids. We look at B vitamin markers, glutathione, gut stuff. We look at neurotransmitter markers, oxidative stress markers. We can look at all these things to see where are there additional imbalances that need to be addressed on this person that are not going to be found in blood work. That's why I love this test. Very comprehensive, really cool test. A lot of stuff in here that we can look at and kind of digest, pun intended, I guess. Right? Then what I do is I probably should have put this a little further up in the workshop, but that's okay. So then what I'll also do is I have this sheet. I literally do this by hand. One of these days I'll join the 21st century and I'll probably make it into a spreadsheet, but they haven't added an extra hour to the day. So once they do, maybe I'll get that done. But what I do is I literally take their blood work and I do this by hand and I have this sheet and I write in there, like, here's all the tests. Look at the functional range. So like, here's someone's range. And to be honest with you, I do this half the time for patients just for my own file. And I don't even go over this with them. But I take their blood work and we want to look at their levels inside of these optimal or functional ranges, not these big gigantic lab ranges, right? And then, okay, if you're outside of that, what could that indicate? And then I have the dates of their lab tests across the top here. And then I write the values in down the sheet there, something that I can monitor, that we can monitor, and fill in blanks again with their blood work. Okay. So that's the second leg, right? So first leg, all right, talk to me, detailed case history, look at their previous blood work, fill in any blanks, make sure we got an accurate diagnosis. Okay, let's go to level 2. Now let's figure out with this person, what additional root causes do we have going on that we haven't identified yet? Typically a Dutch test, typically DNA, fill in any blanks with blood work. Sometimes there's other stuff I got to do with people. Again, it's individual kind of case by case deal. One thing I didn't even mention, a lot of times you guys come to me with testing from other providers. Like you're like, oh, I saw this functional medicine doctor and they did a Dutch test 2 months ago, or they did this micronutrient testing, or they did this GI map testing, right? They did all this stuff and it never went anywhere. Like that you never even saw the doctor again to go over the results. And if you did, they didn't even know what to do with the results. Like, it's insanity. You got people out there running all these tests on patients and patients are paying out of pocket for them. And they're not using it to help the person, or they don't even know how to interpret it. So a lot of times you guys come to me and it's like, I've seen this functional doctor, they have me run all these tests and I got all these test results and I don't know what to do with them. Like, I spent $2,000 on all these tests. Like, what the heck, I get it. Totally get it. So we can bring those to the table as well. I've run all those tests over the years and then some. So I don't, as a matter of routine, on everybody. I will pick and choose sometimes depending on what someone needs individually, but you can bring those to the fray as well anytime. My goal, I work one-on-one with patients. I'm saying, listen, you finally got somewhere like where you don't have to be your own doctor anymore, number one. And number two, you can ditch your doctors who aren't helping you. Like, I'll start taking over and I'll be the point guard here and I'll run the show and you be the patient, I'll be the doctor, and we'll get this figured out and we'll get you fixed. You know what I mean? Step 3. I don't even know where to start when it comes to diet, nutrition, and I hear you talk about this AIP protocol. I don't even know. It's like a different language, right? So what do we got to do, right? So step 3 is we got to figure out someone's kind of blueprint, their code for what foods are going to align with them. That's why I call it my food alignment code. We do that with step 1, an elimination diet. So generally speaking, I'll have patients do testing right away if we need it, blood, Dutch, with DNA, whatever we're doing. Get the testing samples taken, get them done. Then we get to work. First 30 days, we eliminate foods. strip the diet down, and we do an elimination diet. Okay. In that first 30 days, I'm also going to prescribe a couple nutritional supplements. They are designed to decrease inflammation, calm down the immune system, heal the gut, detoxify the liver and our cells. Like these things have to be done to like reset the computer, right? Then we're eventually going to reintroduce foods down the road. Okay. What that's going to do is that's going to develop a personalized plan for everyone. Okay. So we're going to strip everything down. We're going to clean the slate. We're going to do a little testing. We're going to do this for 30 days. In 30 days, we see gigantic turnaround. People are like in 30 days, people are like, holy crow, what is this voodoo going on here? Okay. And it's not rocket science, but it's just knowing what to do and when to do it. And I've just have so much experience doing it that there's nothing I haven't seen. And I work one-on-one with everybody to do this. Okay. And we're going to get to that 30-day mark, usually, sometimes a little longer, 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, right? At some point, we're going to get testing back. Okay, we got to deal with test results. We're going to want to put foods back in because the goal is then to build a long-term protocol, for an individualized, personalized protocol for this person. Okay, so that's kind of step 3, is building that path, that remission path. Okay, so we sit down in the beginning and it's like, all right, here's what we're going to do. Eat these foods, don't eat these foods. Here's the list, here's recipes, here's meal plans. Okay, we're going to meet for our weekly appointments and we're going to figure out how we're going to implement that for you. Okay. You guys can go online and look up what to eat, what not to eat for AIP protocols. Mine's a little tweaked, but we got to do it. That's the key. And it's like how to do it and how to implement it and where to even start and where to turn if I need help. And what if it doesn't work as according to plan? Or what if I screw it? Like that's the important stuff, is getting it done, right? What supplements to take? Most patients that get to me, I get it, are taking way too many things, way too much in the way of supplementation. Okay. We got to streamline it, keep it targeted in the beginning. Okay. And things that shouldn't be on forever, but keep it targeted in the beginning. Decrease inflammation. You see where my patients like C-reactive proteins are. So we're eating an anti-inflammatory diet, but we do some anti-inflammatory supplements, thyroid immune support stuff, gut repair, liver health, detox, cellular detox, inflammation stuff, right? We have to do those things. So I tell people, look, send me your list of stuff. I got someone I'm meeting with later today. This is what we're doing, right? It's like kind of one of the steps we're doing. Okay. What are you taking? This is good. This you don't need, So let's streamline it. Let's take as minimal as possible that's going to help this person and it's going to get the job done and get them better. And what do I need to stay on short term? What do I need to stay on long term? Figure all that out along the way. Okay. Some of that's going to be based on testing, right? As well. Get someone detoxed. So that's like step 3, right? Get their body detoxified. And that's why I kind of want to go in order. It's like, got to address people's inflammation, got to address people's immune system. We got to fix their gut. We got to get them detoxing properly and fix the cell, right? You guys have heard this before. Yes, it has to be done. It does have to be done. And that's kind of where some detox comes in. When I say detox, people think of like, gastrointestinal stuff, but that's cellular detox, inflammatory detox, things like that. Okay. That's it, gang. Right? There's the door. I just opened it up. You can walk on through. You guys can walk on through, right? That's it right there. It's not rocket science. It's not easy. It's simple, not easy. And there's just no magic bullet. Like there's no magic test. There's no magic supplement. It's going to be different for everybody. Right. But though this is the magic right here is when we can sit down and analyze someone's case, figure out what's causing their issues, where have been the mistakes made, where aren't they getting the help or the care that they need. Let's fill those holes in the bucket. Then let's move over here and let's identify root causes that either have never been looked for or have been looked for and are not being addressed. Let's figure those out. Let's get all those cards on the table. Step 3, let's take all of that and implement it into a plan for you. That's going to figure out your foods. It's going to figure out what supplements we need to take. It's going to get you healed up. It's going to get the inflammation down and heal the gut and do all these fun things. And then long term, build a sustainable, individualized, personalized diet for you that's going to keep you into remission. We identify food sensitivities, the whole 9 yards. Okay. And is going to keep you there long term. Okay. So we do the heavy lifting on the front end, some investigative work. Okay. Let's put a plan in place. And then let's implement that plan to get someone better in the short term and to get someone better in the long term and to keep them better. We're never done, gang. There's no cure for autoimmune disease, but it can be figured out. It can be treated properly. It can be put into remission and it can be kept there. Okay, you just have to have the right plan in place. And I get it. That's why you're here. Like, doctors out there aren't doing this, right? They don't know how to do this, number one. And if they do, they're not, they don't know how to do it. It's primarily what we're talking about here, right? They've never done this. They don't have the experience. They don't live knee deep in Hashimoto's all day, every day, and have been doing this forever to figure all this stuff out. I didn't know how to do all this stuff either 15 years ago. Um, so that's the magic right there, gang. That's it right there. And I hope that makes sense. If that makes sense to everybody. Okay. Now, so we did all this with Margaret, right? It wasn't as clean and as cute and as tight as it was when I did this with Margaret, but this is what we were doing. Okay. And this is what I still do to this day. Okay. With my patients. She lost 20 pounds at least. I think it was at least 20 pounds, probably more. I think it was more. That's why I put the plus in there, but it was at least 20 pounds. I mean, we're talking, guys, this was months, a couple of months, 90 days, right? For her, a lot of this was done in 60 days, right? Depression, gone. Fatigue, gone. Digestive problems, forget it. They were gone in like 30 days. Cravings, gone. She was still on her thyroid meds, but she was better. She does need to take her thyroid meds because and a lot of people with Hashimoto's do, because by the time they get to me, it's too late. Like, there's already too much damage done to the thyroid. They can't make enough of the hormones on their own. So they need to take the medication, which is thyroid hormone, right? But she was better. She's still better. Every once in a while, she gets a little off track. We get together, we regroup, we get her better again. Those things happen. That's the game plan. Right? Chris, I love this one. I promise I won't kill you with any more testimonials, but I love this one. She's a great patient. She's been our patient for a long time. She was seeing us for stuff even before all this stuff. We had 2 autoimmune diseases, right? Thyroid and sarcoidosis, right? And again, no idea what they were. Didn't even know what they were. Medical doctors had nothing, no cure, no nothing, right? Put together a protocol for her, just like we went through today. Right? Down 40 pounds. This was a couple years ago. 40 pounds like that. Hopping out of bed. No joint pains. No back pain. I love this one because I think she had another. I think I might. No, it's in this one. She's working out. Started some weights. People are whispering at work. They thought she had bypass surgery. I thought it was great. Again, is it easy? No. Is it doable? Yes. Right. It is. It is. When you find the right plan and you find the right process, if you find the right person, I'd love to be that person for you, but that's not the point of today. Cool. So what's next? Okay. We're going to do Q&A. Okay. If you put stuff in the chat, I'll try and get to it. Ideally, if people just have questions, I'd like for you to just like unmute yourself and then we can fire away questions on anything that we talked about today. Or any questions that you may have. If you want to put them in the chat, great. I just don't want to miss them if you guys have questions. So we're going to go to Q&A. And then lastly today, I did make you a promise in the beginning. Anybody who's here who wants me to do this with them, okay, I will. And because you're here today, I'm doing it at a much reduced fee. Someone comes in my office, someone comes to me, they're like, I want you to do all of this for me. I usually charge up almost $400 for that, for a case evaluation, all that kind of stuff. Doing their blood work, putting together a plan, all that kind of stuff. Okay. You want one? Cool. You can go to that website and sign up. You can scan that QR code. We're going to do it for $97. Anybody who's here who wants it, I will do it. What will we do? We will get together on a consultation. Virtual is fine. And we will do the first leg of the triangle, right, that I put up there before. We're going to go through your case history. I'm going to go through your old labs. We're going to get new labs if we need them. We're going to fill in some blanks. Okay. And then I'm going to put together a game plan, and we're going to sit down and we're going to say, okay, here's what I would recommend. Is it a Dutch? Is it DNA? Is it some other kind of test? What other kind of blood test might we need to do? Okay. And then we're going to implement the game plan together. Okay. What I'm going to do, actually, you know what I'll do is I'll put it in the chat. I'll put the link in the chat. But that's the link there on the screen, and then you can scan the QR code too if you want. If you don't want to, that's fine. But I want to give everyone the opportunity. If they're like, "Oh man, I need this," cool, let's do it. Let's do it for $97. That's can't pay doctors $97 to do what we're going to do, but that's okay. Most of you guys are in my Facebook group or been on my email list or whatever for a long time. I would gladly do it for you guys for a few bucks, where we can get through this whole process. Okay. All right. Q&A. Let's get to it. You know what I'm going to do real quick? Let me grab that link though, and I'll pop it in the chat. So that way, if anybody wants to sign up for the case review, they can do that. They can just click on the link. Let me do that real quick. And then we'll go back and do Q&A. Yeah, so if you have questions. All right, let me share my screen again. Perfect. All right, I'm going to, yeah, I mean, you could put them in the chat if you want. I just want to make sure I don't miss them. So I'll do live Q&A and stuff. And then there you go. I just posted the link in the chat, in the meeting chat. So if anybody wants to go ahead and do that, they can just click on that and they can, and what happens is you can sign up for it and then, oh, right there. So after signing up, I will email you a link to my calendar. Now you can just book right in my calendar. So I opened up a couple, tried to get as many spaces as I could opened up for you guys over the next like 2 or 3 weeks. So once you sign up, I'll email you like today. I'll send you an email. Hey, here's a link for my calendar. Go ahead and book a time with me. There'll be some questions for you to fill out ahead of time so I can get some preliminary information. But then so that way we can set up our consultation and go from there. Okay. All right. If anyone has questions, let's do it. Just unmute yourself.
Hello.
Perfect. I see someone flying in right away. Roz?
Yes. How are you?
Cool. I can hear you. Go fire away.
So I've just been diagnosed with hyperthyroidism and
Hyper.
hyper. Yeah. And Graves' disease.
Yep.
So my question is, since that's overactive of the thyroid, am I able to change my diet or do something without the meds, or would I still have to
Same
be on the
process.
thyroid?
We go,
Okay.
so everything you saw today,
Yeah.
I do with autoimmune thyroid disease. Now, Hashimoto's is way more common, so that's why we're talking kind of about that most of the time. But
Yes.
I see plenty of patients that have Graves' disease as well. Here's the reality. Graves' disease has been the term that's been always classically used for autoimmune hyperthyroidism. And Hashimoto's has always been the term used for autoimmune hypothyroidism. Okay. Those terms actually do not exist in the medical diagnosis nomenclature anymore. Like I can't take a patient and put in their chart a diagnosis of Hashimoto's or Graves' disease. It doesn't exist. They've been combined into a diagnosis known as autoimmune thyroiditis. Basically, because what we found is the underlying mechanism, the underlying causes, the process that I just ran you through that we have to do to get someone figured out is exactly the same with both of those. It's an autoimmune thyroid condition. In some people, it affects them and it causes them to go hyperthyroid based on what part of their immune system or their physiology gets affected. In other people, autoimmune thyroid, then they go hypo. That's the majority of the time. So I see plenty of Graves patients as well, what we classically would call Graves. The process that we went through today that I kind of took you through as far as how we diagnose it and figure it out and treat it is essentially the same. There are some subtle differences, but essentially the same. Now, with Graves' disease, to kind of, I guess, answer your actual question, with Graves' disease, it depends. If someone's been put on medication for Graves' disease, and those medications are basically just to like slow the thyroid down because the thyroid's being stimulated to overproduce thyroid hormone instead of underproduce, like in Hashimoto's. So in that particular case, the the medications are given to slow the thyroid down. In the short term, those aren't a terrible thing. We still need to put a plan in place to treat the underlying cause of the Graves' disease, which is the autoimmune disease, which is what we talked about today. Is it possible for someone who's not on medication with Graves' disease or who is on medication with Graves' disease for me to get them and treat them and run through this process and get them off the medication or prevent them from getting on the medication? Yes, that's entirely possible. Graves' disease, to be honest with you, usually responds a lot faster than Hashimoto's. So everyone's like super hyper, but it's, they actually will respond faster. Like, I say 90 days. Usually I tell someone we're going to take the next 90 days to get this Hashimoto's figured out and get it handled. Graves' disease might be 6 weeks. We do all the same things. And in 6 weeks, I had one patient who was like probably one of my best ones ever with Graves. And yeah, they were like, we're going to cut your thyroid out tomorrow. And she didn't want that done. And she wasn't on the meds and she had the bulging eyeballs and the whole 9 yards and the pain and the anxiety. And in like 6 weeks, she was like, I'm good. So I hope that answers your question, Ross.
Yes, you have. Thank you.
Cool. Any more, let me know. Message me, email me. I'm always here for you guys to answer anything you guys need. Who's got more questions?
Hi, Dr. Benedetto.
Yes.
Presentation. I have a question. Is there a relationship between high TSH and extremely low iron, B12, and vitamin D?
Is there a relationship between high TSH? I'm just going to repeat the question in case people didn't hear it. Is there a relationship between high TSH and then low nutrients? Like you said, low vitamin D, low B12, iron, things like that. Yes. So here's the thing. Some of those nutrient deficiencies, right, that we talk about like in root cause stuff that we can find on blood work, and a lot of times we can find on Dutch testing and stuff like that too, those nutritional deficiencies can contribute to the autoimmune process. They could result from it too, to be honest with you, but they could contribute to it's chicken or an egg, right? So we see those nutritional deficiencies many times in combination with either as a cause of or as a result of the underlying autoimmune condition, the Hashimoto's, the Graves. The Hashimoto's will then cause the hypothyroidism, which shows up as elevated TSH. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You kind of following it there? So the high TSH is a clinical indication on blood work of hypothyroidism, underactive thyroid. Doesn't tell us why, it just tells us that someone has it. The why is usually autoimmune disease, 90% of the time. So the autoimmune disease is causing the hypothyroidism, which is causing the TSH to go high. The nutrient deficiencies, iron, vitamin D, B12, you name it, are contributing to or as a result of the autoimmune disease. So that's kind of how that all adds up. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I had just one more question.
Yeah,
You had the AIP protocol, and is there a possibility that someone can still do this program if they're following a vegan diet?
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that person would not be my first vegan. It would not be my first vegetarian. It would not be, it would not be, I've seen it all over the years. So, yes, there are obviously, tweaks and modifications that I will do with somebody to make sure that if they're eating a vegan diet and they're not going to be eating things like animal proteins, that we get adequate amounts of proteins in them for that period of time that we're doing that elimination. So, yes, it's entirely doable. I've done it with many, many people over the years. It obviously has to be individualized to that person. But yes, very doable.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. Who's next? Fire away. You got a question, just feel free to unmute yourself and start chatting. If not, I'll make sure I clean out the chat here with anybody that has any questions. Okay.
I have another one.
Yeah, sure, Russ.
Okay, so is it possible that I don't have to do the surgery because I'm against that as well?
For the Graves to have the thyroid removed,
Yes, correct.
is it possible? Yes. I mean,
Okay.
hypothetically, yes.
Mhm.
I've done it. It's very possible. In your case, I don't know. We'd have to do like a we'd have to do I'd have to review your case.
Okay.
But feel free, book one. I will gladly do that, and I'll be able to. I'll give you. We'll go through the whole process, and I'll be able to say yes or no.
Okay. Okay,
Sometimes,
I will.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying I will.
Sometimes, sometimes I get it. Look, there are complications like cardiovascular complications, neurological complications, like like heart and brain stuff, to being severely hyperthyroid for a period of time. There are complications to that. So there are situations where I could see it being justifiably done to remove the thyroid if it's going to make someone's heart explode. And they don't
Mhm.
and they don't get to me in time, right? I mean, like sometimes people get to me and like that's those things are close, like it's getting dangerous. So we still may need to take it out. But that being said, even if someone has the thyroid removed or needs it removed or has already had it removed by the time they get to me, if the cause of the whole darn thing in the first place is autoimmune, taking the thyroid out doesn't stop the autoimmune disease, right?
Yeah.
So taking the thyroid out, even sometimes if it needs to be done, still doesn't address the underlying autoimmune cause of the whole thing in the first place. So even if that has to be done, we still got to go through the process to get someone's autoimmune situation figured out and get that handled. Then they can get better. I get plenty of people who come to me, they've already had their thyroid removed. They're taking hormone replacement. Their levels are normal. They never got better. They sometimes got a lot worse after they had it removed. It's because they still have the autoimmune disease present that's not addressed.
Okay, and Graves' disease is that autoimmune
Yes,
issue,
Graves'
correct?
disease. Yes, Graves, Hashimoto's. At this point, they're autoimmune thyroiditis. We lump them together. One makes you go hyper, one makes you go hypo. They are both autoimmune thyroid.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Anybody else has questions live? Fire away. Just unmute yourself and ask, and I will check out the chat here as well.
Dr. Benedetto.
Yes.
Hi, it's Colleen.
Hey, how are
Short.
you?
Good. How are you?
Good,
I'm
good.
following you. Sorry, I had to get off Zoom for a little bit. My doctor's office just called. I still have to get all the paperwork to you for my blood work and everything. I just had recent blood work done on Friday. It looks to me that like the last time I had it done in, I think it was May,
Okay.
my thyroglobulin antibody was at 1.0. It says that mine was at 1.0 then, and it is now at the same. Then right now the TPO was 0.9 and now it's at 10. So they're telling me everything is normal.
So just to recap, your thyroglobulin antibodies was 1.0.
Yeah, it was 1.0 at the time.
Okay.
1.0 a couple of months back, and it's 1.0 right now. And
Okay.
the TPO.
And the range on that, I'm assuming the range on that test is anything over 0.9.
Sounds like sure. We finished round
Yeah,
one.
they're saying the reference range on the antibody is 0.0 to 0.9.
Right after we
Yeah, so that's
finished.
elevated. So that one's
So
elevated.
mine's at 1.0 right now, and that was a couple of
So
months ago the
that's
same thing.
elevated. That's elevated. Yep.
And the
And then the
TPO,
TPOs are 10.
it was 0.9 a couple of months ago, and now it's 10.
There you go. Going in the wrong
And
direction.
they're telling me it's normal.
It's not normal. You have elevated thyroglobulin antibodies, and anything over 9 usually on the TPO antibodies, that's peer-reviewed literature, says anything over 9 on the TPO antibodies, which yours is 10, is also elevated. And it went the wrong way. It went from 0.9 to 10. So it's climbing.
And see, that's what I
Those
said.
aren't normal. Those aren't normal at all. That's Hashimoto's.
Yeah, I just went through all the, blood work and stuff, and she just called me. She's like, okay, everything's, fine and well. Just
It's
the cost
crazy,
of,
right? It's insane. I know it's insane.
yeah. And
Because they're looking at they're not looking at the antibodies because they don't treat it. They don't do anything about it. But
well, she said the other day, she said they don't really do anything until, because we
they
had a
don't.
conversation.
Yeah, we don't
And
do anything until you're really bad, until your thyroid's killed. It's insane.
yeah, and then I just
You
told her, I
just
said,
suffer until then.
I told her, like fatigue, hair loss and stuff. And she said, well, we could, explore other things when you come back in and all. And I'm like,
We'll keep kicking the can. We'll just keep kicking the can, chalking it up to other stuff. And all the while, it's staring us in the face and nothing is done about it. That can change. Go ahead, book a case review with me. Let's get to work.
okay.
Book an appointment with me. Let's get to work. You send me all that blood work. We'll figure it all out.
All right. Just send it to your email and stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, anyone who wants to book a case review with me, like I said right here, you sign up this afternoon. I'll email you with my calendar. I mean, if you don't have my email address, then you'll have it. If you do have my email address, you can, some of you I've chatted with or shared stuff with over the years too. You will have my email address. If you have it, send it. If you schedule a case review with me, I will email you the link to my scheduling calendar so you can book your consultation with me and we can get the show on the road.
Okay. And how much of blood work do you want to? Because I have from Friday.
I'll have you send me what you got more recently. I typically like to go have patients hey, I'll tell them, send me the last, 6 to 12 months if you got it. If you got lots of different
I
blood
do.
tests. So so we'll back and forth it. I'll email you my scheduling link and then we can back and forth it. You can send me what you got. And then again, it's going to be like, okay, what do we got? Especially if it's recent from a week ago. And then kind of like we talked about today, I could take a look at it and say, okay, I still would like to see this, and this that you didn't have run if we need to fill in blanks. And then I can handle that for you. I can handle getting that done for you.
And then also just real quick, my TSH back a couple of months ago was 2.3 and T4 was 1.02. She ran that test also and the TSH it said 2.310.
So it's going up.
And then also the T4 free direct was a couple of months ago 1.02 and it's 1.04.
So about the same, essentially the same. But the TSH is going up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what'll happen. Yeah, let's go. Schedule a book a review with me. I'll send you my link. We'll get all this figured out.
Okay, I appreciate it.
And get to work moving forward. We don't let you guys have probably already figured this out, especially if you've been in Facebook group for any length of time, kind of watching me. We don't let the grass grow under our feet around here. People get to me, they've been suffering for way too long and they want answers and they want to get better. And we don't wait. You sign up for a case review, I will email you a link to my schedule today. And you can schedule ASAP as soon as I have available and we will meet and we will get right to work. People have been suffering for way too long by the time they get to me. It's time for answers. It's time for solutions. It's time to get better. And, let's get to work in doing that like yesterday, cool. Any other questions? Fire away. Let's see what we got.
One more.
Yes.
Benedetto, I know you're offering this great price. Will this still be on for the next, if we decided to do this later in time, let's say in 2 months? I just recently had my blood work and I had to really push my doctor to give me the other important functional thyroid panel. They were extremely hesitant. They would not listen to me even after my TSH was 4.99. I believe under 4.5 is what their range is.
Yep.
And they've just told me they don't treat anyone unless it reaches 10. Obviously, I know not to trust them with my health, so I'm not even on their.
All we need them is to run the labs, and we don't even really need them to do that, to be honest with you. But
Exactly. All I need them to do is to run my labs and
yeah, and you don't even, you can set up an appointment with me and we can chat about it. Like you don't even need we don't even need them to do that. I mean, I sent someone for these labs that I got back today. I'm meeting with them on Friday. Your doctors would not run the antibodies, just wouldn't flat out wouldn't do it. I said, all right, I'll send you for them, right? Okay, sometimes then for those we got to pay out of pocket, but like for me to send her for that test, it was $49. Like it was $49 to run the antibody testing. I sent her a script. She went to a lab near her house. They sent me the results. She had to pay 49 bucks out of her pocket, but we got the right diagnosis. And now we can move forward with the right information. And now we can know what we got to do about it. So if they're giving you a hard time and giving you the runaround and they won't run those tests, I can send you for them. I have to pay a few bucks out of pocket, but it's worth 49 bucks to figure out the problem so we can get our life back.
correct. So I did convince them, and they've decided, okay, in 2 months' time, because I just recently had a TSH blood work.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering that if we come back to you in 2 months, would you be willing to offer this great price
Yeah. Oh,
point?
anyone who was here live, I love you. That's great. If tomorrow you decide, hey, I want to book a time with you, you were here live, 97 bucks.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Benedetto.
You got it. You want me to send you for the antibodies tomorrow? I'll send you. Let me know.
Thank you
2
so much.
months. Come on. Like they just totally kick the can. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want, like, they're hoping you'll forget in 2 months. Like, run them today. What difference like if the antibodies are there, they're there. Run the test. Like, why do we have to wait 2 months? It doesn't make any sense. They're just gonna kick the can, hope you forget about it, and they don't have to deal with it.
I agree with you.
If you want me to run tomorrow, let me know. We'll run tomorrow.
We'll connect with you for sure.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. Cool. I still got a few more minutes. I probably got about 5-10 minutes. So if you guys got questions, let me know. I hope this was helpful for everyone today. Like, my patients who are here or who see this in the future at some point, like they kind of know all this, but to be honest with you, I never really probably sat down and went through it as deeply as I did today with them. Like they are doing it with me, like they're in the actions of doing all the things that we run over today, even though they didn't know it. But I was hopeful this would be helpful for everyone to kind of like summarize it, and I can record it, and then if anybody ever has a question on it later, I can just share the replay. Sorry, Jane, did you have a question?
Yes, I'd like to know, after we pay the $97, what do you do for us after that?
Nothing. You'll never see me again. I'm going to steal your money. I'm never going to see you again.
No.
I'm joking.
No, but what do you do? I mean, you tell me, you see my labs and then you tell me a diet. Is that it, or does it go on?
So we will do the initial case assessment for sure. So what that'll involve is us getting together. Okay. Usually about a 30-minute appointment. And we will do a complete case history. If you have previous blood work to look at, then yes, you can send that to me and I will look at it. Okay. Ahead of time or after that appointment, whatever. But we'll get together. We'll do a complete workup and a case history on your particular case. We'll sit down and go over everything from A to Z with you for your whole life if we have to. Then, previous labs. Do we have a diagnosis? If we do, okay, what do we have to do then to get to the root cause of that diagnosis? If we don't have a diagnosis, okay, then we got to get some labs run, kind of like I was just saying with the last question. Okay, then we got to get some blood work done to get an accurate diagnosis. So basically do an entire case history. What is the problem? If we already know we've been diagnosed, we identify the problem, what do we have to do moving forward as far as a plan to implement that problem or to treat that problem? If you want me to help you do it, great. Obviously, there's additional fees involved with that. But if you don't want to help you do that, great. I can show you what to do and you can do it on your own. But I'll be able to kind of point you in the right direction and say, okay, for you, here's what we got. Here's what you need to do.
I don't understand. After I pay you the $97 and you look at my labs, what happens after that? I don't understand. I'm sorry.
Well, that's going to be up to you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to evaluate your entire case,
Okay,
and then we're going to sit and we're going to follow up usually, right? So then we'll have typically another follow-up appointment as needed. There's no additional charge for that. It's kind of part of the initial evaluation. And I'm going to sit down. I'm going to say, here's what I see with you. Here's what we got going on. Here's what I would recommend as a treatment plan moving forward. Here are the things we need to do. Here are the things you need to look for or look at. Here's the things I would recommend. Here's the dietary work, the supplements I would recommend based on your individual case, and be able to give you that guidance.
I see. Do you find berberine helpful for people with Hashimoto? Is that good for weight loss?
No, berberine classically is used to help as a natural blood sugar supplement. Like it helps to manage blood sugar. I don't prescribe it as a matter of routine on almost anybody, to be honest with you. But berberine is an herb that's classically used to help manage dysglycemia or issues with blood sugar.
Okay.
So like
Thank you.
pre-diabetics, type 2 diabetics, like people
Right,
with blood sugar
right.
issues. Now, I see that with my Hashimoto's folks too, but typically their blood sugar issues are from the Hashimoto's. We don't have to address it directly. We get their Hashimoto's figured out and treated, and then the blood sugar
Mm.
balances out.
Okay. The reason that I have Hashimoto, I believe, is Epstein-Barr virus, but that was like 35 years ago.
That's part of
Does-
it too,
does
though.
that-
You can have chronic Epstein-Barr virus or chronic reactivation. So that's part of, I didn't even touch on that today, but that's part of someone's evaluation. You know, if you got diagnosed with that years ago and you've never been
Yeah.
checked for it again, it's probably a good idea to recheck it in the blood to see if it's still active or reactivated or if it's a problem. And then
No,
that
I
would
was
have to be
told, I
something.
was told it's not active anymore, but I
Have you
think
had
it
it?
stays in your body forever, doesn't it?
It does, yep, and it
Yeah.
reactivates quite often with autoimmune disease. If
Wow.
if someone's telling you that and they haven't ever rechecked your titers, then how can they tell you that? How can they say with a straight face that they know that your Epstein-Barr virus is not reactivated if they have not recently checked your titers since 35 years ago? They
What's
can't.
titers? What is
So those are
titers
the blood
mean?
those are the blood tests we look for Epstein-Barr.
Oh, okay.
There's an
all right.
Epstein-Barr panel, and they're called titers. It looks at 4 different markers.
Okay.
And we can see if they're elevated that you have a chronic infection or a reactivation. We can see that on a blood test. So someone can't say to you that you don't have a chronic Epstein-Barr virus or or Epstein-Barr virus reactivation if they have not recently run those tests. They may
Okay,
say it.
thank
They
you.
may say it. They may say it to get you out of their office because they don't have any answers for you if you do have it, but they can't
Right.
say that you don't have it if they haven't checked. That's like saying my car's not low on oil if I haven't checked the dipstick. How do I know?
I see.
Like I think
Okay,
my car's low
thank
on
you.
oil. I think my car's low on oil. Take it to the mechanic. No, it's not low on oil. What do you mean? You haven't checked? How do you know it's not low on oil? Right?
Uh-huh.
And again,
But
part of the
How
ca-
does, but how
and it-
does
and it-
someone who's caused Epstein-Barr virus, if it's active, what do you do? That's my simple question.
yeah. So typically someone with Hashimoto's, the Epstein-Barr virus is probably not going to be the only cause. But let's say that it is, hypothetically. There's
Okay.
usually going to be all other things going on, like one of the causes, and it might be a big cause, but it's usually not the only cause. But let's say it is. I still run them through an AIP protocol, so we still do the dietary nutritional work to kind of reset their body. And for the viruses in general, Epstein-Barr or any other virus that we find on people, I have specific protocols, homeopathic protocols that I prescribe to my patients that we layer in and do on top of their AIP protocol, whatever dietary nutritional work we're doing. So that would be one of the remedies that we would add in for them would be this particular protocol that I would individualize for them based on their viral infections.
I see.
So
Do you
that's
recommend?
that
Do you
like kind of
recommend?
getting around to your first question. That's the
Yes.
point that's the point of the case review. Like we sit down and we go over all this stuff and we get all the cards on the table. So then I can say for you, Jane, okay, here's everything we got. Here's what I would recommend we do and in which order and how we do it. And I'd be able to lay all that out for you. So sorry, you had another question.
No, I just don't understand. After I pay you the $97, does that put me in remission?
No, that is for me to evaluate your case.
Just
Can I step in
evaluate?
here for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Hi, I just want to let you know that Dr. Benedetto has been with, or I've been with him for, I don't even know how long, over a year,
I
I
didn't
guess
plant
now.
her. Catherine, I did not plant you.
Yeah, no, I didn't. No, he did not. But I hear your concern and I hear your need to understand about the $97. I just need to tell you that he will give you everything you need. He will talk to you and answer the questions actually you're asking now, but relate them specifically to you. And I'm sure there's other questions he'll have for you to get down to what needs to be done. And then he'll give you specifically. I'm currently writing down my plan right now to start again this year on how many days and what do you do and how do you do everything he'll do. It will be the best spent $97 that you will ever pay. Hands
I
down.
swear I didn't put her up to that.
I'm just, no, he did not. And I'll be talking to
No,
you again here in a minute too.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I just
couldn't
feel
have said
her,
it better myself.
yeah, I just feel her concern. I just want to let her know that from somebody who has
Yeah, no,
been
I
with
get
him.
it. I get it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
mean,
totally get it. I totally get
on
it.
the road,
Yeah.
on the road, at home, via phone, via email, via chat, you name it, he's there for you 100%. That's my input.
Yes. Yes. Literally, like my patients get my cell phone number. They can message me anytime they need me with questions. But that's cart before the horse. Cool. Any other questions?
Dr. Benedetto, it's just me again. I just
Yeah.
have a quick question.
Yeah.
You'd mentioned the DNA testing from Ancestry.com. You'd mentioned the Dutch complete hormone testing and
Mhm.
the functional lab testing. Can you give us just a ballpark of how much we're looking when we
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I like those two tests on most people. The DNA testing from Ancestry, you just get it right from Ancestry.com off their website. It's $99. They're like always having a sale, so you can probably find a coupon code or something where they're having they'll have like a Thanksgiving sale next month. It's like on sale for $69, but at most it is $99. The Dutch Complete is $300. That's my price. I order it for patients. My practitioner pricing is $300. If you were to like go on their website or go try and order it yourself, they charge like $500 or $600 for that test. Because I didn't know that because I always ordered it for my patients so then I get the results. But I've had patients, this was a couple of years ago, they were like, I went online to try and order that Dutch test and it was like $600. And I was like, what? I was like, wait a minute. I paid $300 for my patients. So my practitioner pricing is $300. So I tell people, if you're going to do that test, don't order it through me. Pay my office the $300. I'll ship the $300 over to them for the test because you'll save $300-$400 on it. So Ancestry is $99. If you can usually find a coupon code for it, Dutch is $300. So not bad. That's the Dutch is worth every penny. You can't get, it's like 3 tests in one. You can't beat it. But again, you got to know what to do with the results. That's the problem. Like most docs don't. Like I get people all the time. They're like, I had a Dutch Complete last month and my doctor doesn't even know what the heck to do with it. I'm like, all right, send it my way. Let's take a look at it.
Well, thank you very
That
much.
help? And then, like I said, sometimes blood work, if I can order someone's blood work and have it, and sometimes I can have it done, like we have to fill in some blanks and it's something we can see on blood work and I can order it and they can take their insurance and great, we'll do it that way. I'll give a script and the lab's like, yeah, sure, we'll take a script and you can run it through your, Aetna or Blue Shield or whatever. Great. If not, like if that's not the case or someone doesn't have insurance, then I have ways that I can get people this blood work done at a significantly reduced cash price too.
Okay, fantastic.
Cool. All right, let me check the chat real quick. I want to try and get to some of them if I can. If anybody else has a question. Pam, this almost makes me cry. I can fix what's wrong. Yes. Eat more foods again and get into remission. Cool. All right, and then Sahar, we already talked about this one. Jane, we talked about the Epstein-Barr. Good. Jane, does your program help insomnia and fatigue? If the insomnia and fatigue is caused by Hashimoto's, which it usually is, right? So if the symptoms are from the Hashimoto's, then yes. Sherry, what if we've been doing some of the protocol, haven't gone through some of the personalized tests you mentioned today? Oh, we can talk about that, Sherry. Just let me know. Jane, I'd like to chat. Okay. Yep, just book a call and I'll send you the link. Just sign up for the case review and then I'll send you the link, Jane, and we'll get together and we'll hammer it all out. Soup to nuts. Hey Doc. Oh, this is Jewel. Hey Doc. Oh, that's a direct message. I'll reply to that, Jewel. Amber. Yeah, 97 is the reduced cost. Yes, I usually charge more, obviously. Dr. Natasha, can I ask something? Of course, if you're still here. I got another
Yes.
I got another like 2
Yes.
minutes.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Oh, good, great. So I'm currently in India. When we talked last time, I think it was a month ago or something, I was in Thailand, and I was like feeling really low for 2-3 months when I stopped taking levothyroxine. And now I met some Ayurveda doctor and he put me on Tyronorm, which is like similar to also some thyroxine medicine. So my question is like, probably I have to take these hormones now forever, no? Like it's like there is nowhere around, like, because if I don't take it, I feel bad. If I take the wrong ones, it's also like having a lot of side effects, and now this seems to work. So, but I'm only taking it since few days, like, and I already feel like significant shift of energy. And besides that, he gave me also 6 different other medicines, like which I was taking. I slept like 15 hours, and then somehow like a big shift occurred. So since feeling really weak, now I'm having totally normal energy and like yeah. So complete turnover in 2 days. And
Nice. Excellent.
yeah, yeah. And so, and what, like, I'm taking it now for 1 week, and he said we're gonna do some blood work, and then do like 2 weeks panchakarma, which means like deep cleanse of intestine and like cellular cleansing, and also sinuses, and like all what I had like symptoms in past years. So I don't know if you can comment something on that. So like it's like an Ayurvedic approach, but I think it's quite a very experienced doctor. I got some recommendation, and I'm like really grateful I came across, because it saved me. Like I was feeling months not so good. And yeah, and then also I was following autoimmune protocol, like a carnivore diet, like a lot of meat and things. And I kind of felt good with the meat, but then also a bit heavy. So now I'm in ashram in India, and it's only vegetarian diet. And with this medicine and vegetarian diet, I also feel great. I don't feel that meat is missing. So, and I think I eat also now carbs, and I don't have any reactions to it. So I don't know how it all works together. I really don't understand this Hashimoto symptoms. It's like always coming out of nowhere. And then, yeah. So, and sometimes just works.
And it's crazy, and that, I'm always trying to kind of boil things down for you guys, and you see me like do a lot of on my Thursday lives and stuff like that too. It is crazy because, and I call it collateral damage, because people are like, gosh, I don't understand how like all of these symptoms can be due to that. And it's not always the case, but a lot of times it is. It's like there's just things that people suffer with that they don't understand are related to 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 the thyroid dysfunction, to the autoimmune disease, to the inflammation that comes from it. Like it's just a cascade, it's a waterfall of a cascade that starts at the autoimmune disease and downstream from there, you know. So good, though. Good, Natasha. Excellent. All right. Who's got another question? Fire away. I think I got another couple minutes here.
Yes, can you hear me?
Gotcha.
My name's Tina, and I have been diagnosed with Hashimoto's,
Welcome. You're in the right place.
and I've had it for many years. And of course, the doctor just puts me on, I'm taking Armor thyroid or MP thyroid,
Okay.
it's the T3 and the T4.
Mhm.
I went on a carnivore diet trying to see if that would help. I started getting some other autoimmune issues like psoriasis and eczema. But when I changed my diet and got off all processed food and all sugar, that all those went away.
Beautiful.
I don't seem to have many symptoms from the Hashimoto's. I feel great. I sleep
Nice.
great. I did have some hair loss, but I think that was more from going to carnivore than the thyroid.
Sure, it's possible.
It increased when I did that. The only other thing is sometimes, I mean, I'm cold a lot, so that would be one symptom. But my TPO and my TG are very, very high. My TPO is, hold on, 244, and my TG is 788.
The TG antibodies.
Yes, and it was 2200. So
Oh, okay. So it's at least going in the right direction.
it has gone down since I got on carnivore.
Yeah, it'll take time. Like when your levels are that high, even with the right plan, like they're not going to go from 2200 to like undetectable in like 6 months. That could take 6 years, you know.
Okay.
But you still, keep doing what you're doing, keep implementing the plan, keep staying well, and keep that autoimmune condition at bay, and then keep monitoring those. And over time, they should continue to come down. They'll never be zero. You can't, once you start making these antibodies, they'll never be zero again. We want to get them as low as we possibly can. We want to get them, undetectable if possible, which is doable. So that's great. That's a great decrease. That's beautiful.
Okay, so
Keep
you
it up.
feel like carnivore. I kind of
Hey, it's
started-
working. It's working. Do it. I recommend a version of an AIP protocol, but I mean, that's not to say I haven't had patients do carnivore in the past,
right.
and had it work.
I've added a few things back in, so it's kind of becoming more ketovore
All
because
right, cool.
I was having problems with constipation, not getting enough fiber.
Yeah.
So I'm eating
Beautiful.
jicama and
Beautiful.
berries.
Yeah, I mean, like, and again, that's why I harp on it all the time, but like, it's why I work one-on-one with everybody. And I don't have health coaches. I don't have cookie cutter approaches. I have a framework. Okay, here's the things we're going to do, but it's different for everybody. We implement it differently for everybody. Because we may start doing this version of the AAP protocol. It's not working. I have someone right now. We're doing this exactly what we're doing. I've had patients, they're like, can I, I see the AIP protocol, but I also see carnivore. Can I try that in place of this from a dietary standpoint with everything else we're doing? Sure, let's do it. So it's going to be a little different for everybody, but kudos to you. Great job. Keep it up.
Does it make sense that I don't feel bad? I feel great. I have lots
That's
of
awesome.
but I have these high autoantibodies.
Well, because they're going to take time to come down.
Okay.
But that's beautiful. That's that. I mean,
is there any
you're doing good things. You're feeling significantly better. The antibodies are a lot lower. They're still high, but comparatively speaking, they're a lot lower than they were. And it's just going to take time for them to keep going down. You just got to keep doing the right things, and that will happen.
Is there any supplements I should add to that?
I mean, I'd have to sit down and see what you're taking.
Because I had heard on some of the carnivore YouTube videos, you need iodine. But then I heard a doctor say, if you got Hashimoto's autoimmune, don't take iodine.
Correct. I don't it's not that I don't recommend it for everybody. I just don't recommend it for Hashimoto's people right out of the chute.
Right. Okay. Okay, so
That's
you don't feel
great.
like there's anything else I need to do, just keep doing what I'm doing.
I wouldn't rock the boat, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you want me to take a specific look at maybe some of your supplements and make some recommendations, you can totally book an appointment with me and we could do that. But I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it at this point, you know.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Good job. Good job. All right, gang. I got to wrap it up. I hope this was helpful. Listen, anytime you guys have questions, you can reach out to me anytime. Like you can message me. I have weekly live streams on Thursday inside the Facebook group, our Hashimoto's Facebook group. Join those. Private message me, schedule an appointment with me anytime, gang. But I hope this was helpful for everyone. I'll have the replay available so you can go back and watch it in case you missed anything. If you need me for anything, great. I love this stuff. I'll do this again if you guys want me to do it again or do a different topic or anything. I'll take each leg of that triangle and break it down like super duper drill down detail if you guys want. So thank you everybody for being here today. If you need me, let me know. If you want to go ahead and book your assessment with me, go ahead and do that. As soon as you do, I'll email. I'm doing all this myself, gang. So like I will literally manually email you the link to book an appointment with me. So just give me a sec while we're wrapping up here. And anybody who signs up for a case review with me, I will get you an email this afternoon with the link. And so that way you can book your time at a time that's convenient for you. So thank you everybody for being here. If you need me, let me know. If you have questions, let me know. And everyone have an awesome day.